Hello, my name is Marsha Johnson, and I'm one of the FLA coaches. And I want to talk to you a little bit today about a problem solving approach called the five whys. I know most of you who are involved in any church activities know that there are more opportunities or problems to solve than you could ever get around to doing. And so sometimes you feel like you're solving the same problem maybe over and over and over again. Just a new place, new time, new faces. So what we find out though that because we're so busy, we have so much going on, that there's so little time that we always look for a quick fix so we can take care of it and move on to the next thing. But unfortunately, the root cause of a problem may not be what's obvious to us in our many years of experience. So root causes may not always be a quick fix. And one old saying that you've probably heard your parents or grandparents or maybe even yourself saying to your kids sometimes, if you have time to do the rework, you have time to fix it right the first time. So what we're going to look at today is that maybe our focus shouldn't be on the quick fix to get it done, but maybe we ought to focus on the permanent solutions. So the root cause problem solving five whys, just what is it? So it's a problem solving methodology that allows you to move past the quick fix to the root cause, getting to the root cause of a problem. And it came out back actually in the 30s and got popularized by Toyota when they were realizing that cars made in Japan didn't have a good reputation or products in general for quality. And so they were looking for ways to improve the quality of their products. And it's not about settling for like the first answer that you see it the first time, but it's about asking why a couple of times. And the whole purpose is to get down to the root cause of the problem. And so I want to just take you through a couple of examples of how you can use 5Y in your church. So there's a common problem that we have that young people don't come to the worship service. So one of our ways of approaching it be, we'd say, why don't young people come to our worship service? And it would be that it's traditional and they don't like structure or they don't like the music. And so we would come to the conclusion that let's change the music and change the flow to be more freestyle and more contemporary. And this happens, and then you often find out in 3 months that young people still don't come to the worship service. So maybe another approach, the five why approach, would be to say, why, the question is still, the problem is why young people do not come to worship service, but you ask the question, why don't young people come to worship service? And one of the answers is that older people do not reach out to young people. So why does that happen? Why don't they reach out? Why is this important to young people that they be reached out to? How do you reach out to them? So that's an example of asking why would allow you to bring people together, to explore possibilities, and maybe come up with a solution that they actually found out that while it wasn't the worship service or the type of music that was preventing the young people, it was really that they were looking for relationships. And so they felt that if they could be more intentional about building a sense of community, not only during the worship service, but outside the service, that would encourage young people more to come to the church. So that's just an example of how asking why can change the answer that you get to, though it may take longer. So let's just look at one more opportunity. So we have a problem that says John and Mary do not tithe. So our common approach would be, because when we ask them why don't they tithe, they say they can't give 10% to the church. Why can't they give 10% to the church? And we concluded because they spend all their money on unnecessary material things. And so our solution would be we're going to guilt them into giving more to the church. But maybe another approach for the five whys is the same problem. John and Mary do not tithe. And John and Mary say they don't tithe because they can't afford to give 10%. So we ask, well, why can't they afford to give 10%? And they answer, they say their expenses and personal spending is so high and there's nothing left over. And why do their personal spending and expenses exceed their income? Because they don't know how much they spend. And why don't they know how much they spend? Because they don't track it. Why? And so you can see here is trying to, again, get down to the root cause of why Mary and John don't tithe, and it may not because they're spendthrifts and they're materially oriented, but it may be they might need some help with budgeting, or maybe they need some help with the needs and wants analysis, or could be a number of other things that they need other than the fact that they're they're self-centered. So to do the five whys, what's required? So nothing really hard and difficult is required. The first thing is a commitment to solving the problem down to the root cause and not just strike at it and move on. And it's a willingness to engage the key stakeholders. In the example of the church, they had to talk to some young people, they had to talk to some members, and so forth and so on. So they really had to, slow down and pull other people in. It couldn't just be a quick solution by one committee or the pastor. And you have to be open to challenging the process. If people don't want to give online, why? Because they've always given in the basket. Well, maybe again, you have to be open to challenging the process. And we have to have in the mindset that we recognize that most problems are process related, maybe not people related. And it does require some discipline to stop and slow down and ask the questions. But what are the benefits? The benefits are you get better solutions, so you're not reworking things. You'll get a group buy-in when you involve the stakeholders. You should get long, real, and lasting solutions. And once an organization gets used to challenging and asking questions, you find you build an organization that is less resistant to change, so you have ongoing benefits. So again, it's about asking why and not jumping to the first solution. And you may ask what or how, but again, you may not have to ask 5 or you may have to ask 7. So that's not really what's specific, but the point is you ask why until you get, or how, or what, until you get to what you believe are possible root causes, and then you can come up with real solutions. So your challenge is going to be moving from should get it done to a must get it done on one particular task that you're facing. So I want you to pick one problem or one opportunity that you're working on. Maybe it's a subset of one of the activities involved in your WIG, and work through it with the 5 whys. And so you had down here the picture that the challenge begins with light foot dragging. So let's not have our projects fail. Let's just pick one task and try to work it through with the 5 whys today. Thank you very much for allowing me to share the 5 why problem solving methodology with you. Okay.